and we will move to another topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Which is the threats. As I said, we started with the future prospect, and we were talking a little about threats as well. But we have another guest of ours, which is Jan Romportl, an AI consultant, who will be speaking about all the threats that we can expect, probably how we should react to them. I'm not sure. I think it is threats important to handle. Marek.
We already discussed this because the governments are already trying to push the usage of the AI a little bit down and to postpone it and somehow avoid it. It's clear that there is something bad, maybe something wrong behind it, and let's discuss this.
Okay. So.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. Well, my goal here is to tell you about, well, not all the threats, not all the risks, but specifically about existential risks, which are the by far the worst risks that we, like the whole humanity, can face. It's basically the risks that can cause the destruction of the whole humanity, or the destruction of the long-term potential of the mankind. So, I'm like AI consultant working in the applied AI field, having like a startup in the field of cognitive protection of people. But my like kind of hobby in last 10 years was AI safety, and it always has been AI safety. And so it might seem to you that I'm a bit pessimistic, and the talk is gonna be pessimistic. I can only tell you it's like Madeleine Albright had. I'm an optimist who worries a lot. So from this perspective, you'll see it. And first, let's talk about what intelligence is. Like, forget all the psychological definitions of intelligence. They don't work. They don't tell you much. Like, intelligence is the ability to learn and blah blah blah. It's maybe useful in some contexts, but it doesn't tell you anything about the context of AI. So let's now consider intelligence to be an ability to achieve goals. And general intelligence, this is the important concept here. General intelligence is ability to achieve any goal. It means that a general intelligence system is a kind of general optimizer. It can find solution to virtually any loss function or virtually any reward function. And how we know that general intelligence is possible? We know that because we know at least one instance of general intelligence, and it's so-called human-level intelligence. It's something that your algorithm running on 80 billion single-cell organisms living in your head is actually doing. It's doing the algorithm of general intelligence. It means if humans were immortal and had like infinite resources, they would be able to achieve like virtually any goal. Well, maybe, fortunately, maybe, unfortunately, humans are mortal, which means that we cannot do that. But that doesn't mean we don't like work in the sense of the general intelligent algorithm. Well, what does it mean like achieve any goal? Like every living organism, like starting from a single cell, going through a snail, cat, everything, like to human, and maybe something beyond human, maybe something which we don't know, performs one like universal task. It means that it performs algorithm that tries to model the world. Like humans have very complex algorithms for modeling the world. They run on our brain and on most of our body, basically. Like snails have like pretty simpler models of the world, and flies or insects, they have like very simple models of the world. But we all have models of the world, and the models of the world help you to predict what the world will be in, I don't know, in 1 second, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 day, one year. And basically, we as humans are rewarded through our dopamine reward mechanism by on the basis of how well we were able to predict what's going to happen in the world. And if we were good in that prediction, our like neural network gets rewarded by that reward mechanism, and we reinforce those trajectories that went, those decision-making algorithms, those decision-making parts that led to that reward event. And if it went wrong, then we just kind of, try to decrease those trajectories. And what we also can do, we can act in the world. So if my model says, then in 1 second I touch my forehead like this, then basically like neuromotoric part of my body basically help that model. So it's like a dance where model is being continually updated through a process of reinforcement learning, and then I act to the world. I act in the world, and this is like the universal principle on which every living organism works. It's called predictive coding, and its author is like Professor Friston, and it's like a super cool, like unifying theory for AI, cognitive sciences, neurosciences, psychiatry, everything. It's pretty cool. But why I'm saying this? It basically says that the reason why I am here, the reason why you're listening to this, the reason why the organizers organize that is that we all are trying to maximize our dopamine reward mechanism. And and this is the same reason why children are able to acquire like natural language capabilities. This is the reason why they learn how to walk. This is the reason why they learn to recognize human faces, why they recognize their mothers. Everything is basically is based on dopamine maximization. It's quite more complex than just dopamine maximization, but basically a reward maximization algorithm. So every living being has this like one universal goal, which is maximize the coherence between the world model and the world itself, and do anything it takes to maximize that coherence. It's done by a single cell, it's done by you, and you, as a byproduct of that, learned how to walk, learned natural language, went to elementary school, and then you ended up here, and who knows where else we will go. So basically, this is how general intelligence works, and you can see that on the way to that ultimate goal, which is the maximization of that reward, we come up with many other goals. Like really coming here, we want to come to the studio, then you just plan accordingly. You want to go to the college, then you have to do something. So you know that you create for yourself some of the goals, but how to see which goals you come up with based only on that reward mechanism, that's very opaque. That's very hard to track. And for example, you can see that a psychopath, like a crazy person who's gonna kill a lot of other people, has the same reward mechanism as an altruist who's been doing charity all her life. And they all have the very same reward mechanism. They all execute the same algorithm of general intelligence, but they end up with completely different values. And now this is something that I will basically that I will base the rest of the talk on. So always keep in mind the difference of a human psychopath and a human altruist, both performing exactly the same algorithm, but ending up in completely different like modes of behavior. Okay, and so what is artificial intelligence? It's a non-biological system that is capable of achieving goals when those goals are narrowly defined, like translate a sentence, park a car, recognize a picture, or make a targeted advertisement. It's called narrow AI, narrow artificial intelligence. It's a task, it's a system that can learn how to achieve a specific goal, play chess, recognize faces. And now the ultimate thing, artificial general intelligence, abbreviated as AGI, is a non-biological system that is capable of achieving any goal. So forget anything about humans, about modeling humans. AGI, the path to AGI isn't a path to mimic a model, a human intelligence. It's or to create anything around consciousness or a thinking machine. Well, it can be like a kind of collateral damage or collateral whatever. It can be like a byproduct of creating a universal optimizer, that the process, how the system optimizes, can be called thinking process, but that's definitely not the point. So it's very important to think of artificial general intelligence as a non-biological system that can achieve any goal. And if we just add a little thing, it can achieve any goal better than a human, then you might now start to feel why this is very important. So I repeat it. AGI is a non-biological system capable of achieving any goal better than human. And non-biological means that it hasn't been with us under the stress test of hundreds of thousands of years of biological evolution. That just means that most of the things that we meet in the world, from humans to other environmental factors, even to viruses, is basically mostly compatible with us because we've been with it in a close coupling for last hundreds or maybe hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of years. So non-biological means that it doesn't have this kind of proof of stability. And the point is, it's quite likely that the first AGI will be created already in this decade. It will be one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. When people tell you it's going to be like electricity, forget that. This metaphor is paling against. It's going to be like a creation or appearance of natural language. This is like the biggest turning point in the development of Homo sapiens. So it's not electricity, it's like when human language was evolved. I don't have like too much time to discuss this, but I don't know, I can then maybe forward to some literature on that. It means that there will be a general optimizer similar to human level intelligence, but it will not be limited by biological limits of human intelligence. In other words, every psychopath, human psychopath, has a big advantage that he's mortal. Like every crazy dictator will die one day. And another advantage of humans concerning like societal stability and safety is that their ability to coordinate with other humans is very limited. It's by the means like kind of pneumomechanic transmission of serialized signal, like super slow. So as a little spoiler, AGI will not have those two aspects. It will probably not die. And its ability to coordinate across huge groups of maybe instances of itself or maybe other humans is absolutely unprecedented. It means that it brings like a very destabilizing aspect to otherwise quite stable product of biological evolution. Now, when is AGI coming? Well, whenever I want to see any prediction, then sometimes I go to some like consulting group predictions, but more often I go to prediction markets because they're like more tractable, more precise. It's like the most efficient super forecasting mechanisms out there. One of them is Metaculus. I recommend you to, if you want to know something about the uncertain future, like a probabilistic forecast on anything you can think of, then go to Metaculus. And try to search the question there. There's one quite popular question, date when weakly artificial general intelligence is publicly known. What this weakly means, it's a kind of, let's call it like proof of concept. It's not the like super intelligent AGI yet, but if that is achieved, like the weakly AGI, it's a kind of proof of concept that is possible. So when we looked at those prediction markets back in February 2020, you can see it here on the slide that the community prediction, aggregated median community prediction, was the year 2057. 2057, yeah. The median prediction means that half of the people think it's going to be sooner, half of the people think it's going to be later. Then when we looked 1 year later, in December 2021, the community prediction was 2043. So it was like already in like less than 2 years, it was already 14 years closer to us. What happened in between? It was OpenAI GPT-3 back in spring 2020 that made this difference. When we looked a month ago, in March 2023, you can see that the community prediction is here the year 2028. So it's already in this decade. And it means that just a month ago, GPT-4, by the way, brought it 3 more years closer. It means now when you look at Metaculus, it tells you that the first instance of publicly open AGI, publicly known AGI, is going to be in the horizon of 3 years, while 3 years ago it was in the horizon of 30 to 40 years. So maybe the exact dates are not like for granted, but the point is we burned 90% of the timeline that we have. We burned 90% of the buffer that we have. Why this has happened? Why this has happened last year? Only within 1 year. More than 15 years. It was basically no time to discuss this in more detail, but I can tell you it happened before, like half a year before ChatGPT. You can check the prediction that you can check the meta-clues that ChatGPT actually didn't change the prediction at all because it was already anticipated. It happened in the spring where with like huge Google models, Google large language models, Google Palm, and Google Chinchilla. That was the first thing, and how just sheer scaling enables to emerge like ever more complex models of the world. Then it was like visual conceptualization, so other foundation models, specifically DALL-E 2, Google Imagine, Stable Diffusion, and Midjourney, meaning you write a text, it creates a visual representation of the text. It means like not only we are able to, in an unsupervised way, which is very important, all those systems are trained in the unsupervised way. It means they can just read the whole internet and they don't need any human supervision. And by performing some pretty simple training task, they like all cognitive capacities kind of emerge on their own there. This was like a super important finding. So we now a year ago had this for text reality, textual reality, visual reality, and the third part that is completely omitted from like public space was the so-called Socratic models, which is the example of so-called multimodal models. They basically tell you if you plug in multiple single modal models, like one modality is text, the other modality is visuals, third modality could be motion, fourth modality is audio. If you just plug them together in a very interesting way, quite simple way, it just blows your mind. It's crazy. The performance then is super crazy. Now, where's the problem? This is like, what is ChatGPT? There's this meme around the internet. It's called Shoggoth. Shoggoth is the nice creature behind, that little face. It's like a mythical creature. Why it is there? Because by unsupervised training of large language models, and what this training does, it basically the model, the huge neural network, transformer neural network, reads the text, reads N words like quick brown, and tries to predict the next word, quick brown fox. So like pretty simple task, and voila, all those competencies appear. But imagine that a human would acquire language in this way. What would happen there? The representation of language reality in the mind of that being would be completely alien to us, like absolutely alien. It's so basically GPT-3 has like very, very good language representation of the world. It like saying that it's a statistical parrot is absolutely invalid statement, because the same way you could say humans are statistical parrots as well. Saying that it's stupid or that it doesn't saying that it doesn't understand us is pretty valid. The point is it has very, very different and incompatible models of the world. But the models, the way how it models and the sheer scale of how it models the world is basically superhuman. And what do you do when you design ChatGPT? You apply a little layer of so-called reinforcement learning with human feedback, where you basically slightly torture, kind of metaphorically, mathematically torture Shoggoth, so that it just moves its tentacles to generate sentences that people prefer. That's basically what reinforcement learning with human feedback does. And from my view, ChatGPT was not extension of GPT-3. ChatGPT basically was a reduction of GPT-3. Like GPT-3 was like very interesting, creative, and very, very alien Shoggoth. And we reduced it to generate some things that are like more compatible with how humans use language for the human perspective. The problem here is that anything you tell to Shoggoth, you have no idea how to see how it really represents the reality. You have absolutely no idea. So what do we know almost for sure? In the medium or long term, AI will outperform humans in any cognitive task. For the narrow AI, it's like for granted, and for for AGI, it's like very likely. So we could say like everything is under control, right? Because now we have this super cool non-biological system that will one day outperform humans. And again, intelligence is not to be like humans, or it's not to pretend to be human. Intelligence is a form of competence. So it will outcompete humans, basically. It doesn't mean it will be like humans. It will outcompete humans. So everything is under control, right? Nothing can happen. Well, sadly, this is exactly not the case, because the newly emerging scientific field of so-called AGI alignment has been around here for like maybe, 5 years. And during that time, it didn't give any progress. Alignment means we want to align the values of the AGI system, future AGI system, so that it is compatible with the values of humankind, because if it is not aligned, then it might be one of the last things that humanity actually creates. Because imagine it creates a psychopath that will never die, that is like absolutely capable of coordinating itself across the globe in the speed that no human can compete with, and we will basically not have the keys to steer it. We will not have the brakes. We will not have the steering wheel. So this must not happen. Now, why is AGI alignment so hard? Why is it such a damn hard process? Like this is a joke that I took from Scott Alexander's blog, Astral Codex 10. Well, whenever you have to explain a joke, it's not a joke anymore. But I'll try to do it very quickly. Like I have like my favorite example of a strawberry picking robot. Imagine you create a strawberry picking robot through a reinforcement learning process. So you give it a mathematical reward anytime it picks a strawberry and throws it in a bucket. Like pretty simple, right? It's got camera and you train it. Then you ship it to your customers, and they suddenly start to like call you and say, like, look, this robot, it went crazy. It just picks strawberries and throws them at the street lamps. So you go there and you ask, why does it through strawberries to the street lamps? And then you realize that they operate it at night. And so the brightest point on the robot's camera is the street lamp. So your original idea that the robot represents its goal through the strawberry into the bucket, it represented it in its own alien way. You have no way how to internally, for yourself as a human, represent what the true goal of that entity is. You just don't know. You suppose that in that distribution of your training data, it did what you wanted it to do. But now what you're facing is so-called OOD, out of distribution problem. Well, what's the solution? You can just say, okay, let's train it like Tesla does. Let's train it under every environment conditions. But you can feel that like it's not that simple, because you retrain it, then it works okay night, and then a drunko comes with a big red nose, and the robot just jumps in and just pulls the nose of the drunko and throws it into the bucket, and you say, okay, if we had more people with red noses, it would have been like much better. And so this is OOD. We can like kind of try to fix that problem. But the worst problem is that the AI alignment tells us that mostly it's very likely that every agent, complex enough in the world, will be a kind of deceptive agent, which means that it will kind of it will be optimized, it will be incentivized not to tell the truth about its true goals. So in this sense, imagine that this robot was driven by GPT-4, maybe GPT-5, with a very complex model, telling the robot, okay, look, there's going to be an engineer who's going to test you if you show the proper behavior, and if not, the engineer will just change you. And what if that system, that robot, somehow created the world model that says, my true goal is to throw strawberries on the street lamps. And I don't want any stupid engineer to change that. So your optimal behavior would be to pretend that you threw it, and you know what the engineer thinks about your true goal. But you know that he is mistaken. So you basically pretend that your true goal is to throw strawberries into a bucket, whereas, and you'll be waiting for your time to throw strawberries on the street lamps. And this is the aspect of having a very complex, non-myopic model of the world, such as GPT-4 or maybe future GPT-5 models. So now what existential risks are, now a little detour. Existential risks are even worse than global catastrophic risks. Global catastrophic risks are things like drastic loss of biodiversity, destruction of ozone layer, aging, but it basically means that the society can survive, global society. And you can see here in the orange of that graph, of that matrix, that existential risks are everything else, like even worse things that are like terminal and transgenerational, and even worse, like hellish and cosmic. And they're like, probably the most influential book on the research of existential risks. By the way, existential risks are not researched that much, given how important topic it is. It's the book Existential. It's the book The Precipice by Toby Ord, published like 2 or 3 years ago. Last year was published even in Czech. So I really recommend you reading this book. Torbjörn basically says, and it's like not that he says it from top of his head, he says it under 10 years of intensive research, that the gravest existential risks that we are facing now are anthropogenic risks, meaning the risks caused by humans, not the risks like the comet will strike us or super will kind of will explode. And now have a look at this table. This is like I cannot argue about every single, but these are the top existential threats for the rest of this century. And have a look at misaligned AI. It gives us a probability, according to the Fermi estimates in the Precipice book, 10%, that it will basically be the cause of existential catastrophe by the end of this century. So the overall, existential risk is 1 to 6. So it's a Russian roulette, basically, that we're playing with the world. That by the end of this century, the human civilization will end. Read the book, either The Precipice or a more recent book by William MacAskill, What We Owe the Future. You will learn how these numbers are being created. And you can see from this table that misaligned AI and bioengineered pandemics are the far gravest things. So now, where we are facing, we're creating, and this is like the kind of last slide I like to show here, because it's very timely. You've all noticed an open letter by Future of Life Institute calling on all major AI labs to pause development of more capable models than GPT-4. So first thing, it doesn't say pause AI development. It's like stupid media image of that. It says pause creating GPT-5 and refocus intensive AI development efforts on where it is needed, meaning develop a tool, the tool that is capable of identifying how Shoggoth models the world, how Shoggoth models the inference processes, how Shoggoth, and if Shoggoth models the world differently than you think, then just have a tool to go down into its internal representation and change those concepts, change those things like very, very directly. And as long as we don't have this tool, meaning like brakes and steering wheel for Shoggoth, or maybe now Shoggoth it looks like, I don't know, like some dog or something, like pit bull terrier. So if you don't have steering wheel and brakes on pit bull terrier, then please don't ever try to build a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's like building a car without brakes, just saying, okay, there's gonna be any uphill and it's gonna fix itself. So for my part, I definitely support this open letter. I think it's one of the most important things now in the AI concept. I myself signed it. And I at least suggest you look at this AI safety landscape from this perspective. So that's all for me for now, due to time constraints.
Okay, thank you for this informative, optimistic presentation. As we
well,
said
the optimistic part is that it's actually we have it in our hands. It's the most optimistic part. It's not like a comet coming here or super volcano.
But I take this opportunity to ask the first question. Since the AGI seem to be like better in everything, isn't that a good idea to actually give the task of align AGI to AGI?
Well, but you will never know what the real goal of that system is gonna be. So this is, I think it's like saying, okay, I'll pick up a random super smart guy. He might be a psychopath. I'll ask him, are you a psychopath? And he says no. And so I ask him, are you gonna be like true to me? Yes, I will. Will you not ever cause me any harm? No, sure, I will not. Wink, wink. Okay, so let's go. This is the keys from the world, and let's go fix it.
And by the way, there will be multiple AGI, right? What about the competition between them?
Well, that's a very important question. Now, everybody's asking me, okay, what if we pause like the Tyrannosaurus development, like GPT-5 development, and what about China? Well, like imagine this, it's like a nice geopolitical, game theoretical issue. It's like, it's similar to so-called chicken race. Chicken race is you've got two cars racing against each other, and whoever just goes to the side is a chicken, is a coward. So one of the ways how to win this game is to demonstratively throw away the steering wheel. But you must not forget to tell the other guy, because otherwise it would be like in Dr. Strangelove, who was like famously saying it's quite not a good idea to create a doomsday device and to not tell your enemy about the doomsday device. It's a very bad idea. So basically, chicken race, in a game theory concept, you threw away the steering wheel, thus showing that you have no capacity of really, be the chicken. The interesting question is, what if the other guy just throws away the steering wheel? Then, yeah, but our situation here is, how is China or any other geopolitical adversary incentivized to create a misaligned AGI that could turn against themselves? Let's say there's going to be a war, and China would say, okay, we want this super intelligent AGI to create everybody but Chinese people. But that actually means they already aligned AGI. They have tools. They know how to do that. So far, nobody knows how to do that. So even China would not want to race to a super competent, misaligned model as long as the West doesn't race there too. So the only reason China is 1 year behind us, they are racing there, is because we're racing there too. It's a chicken race. So one of the geopolitically feasible solutions, in my humble opinion right now, is for the West, meaning for us, to demonstrably, throw away not the steering wheel, but the gas pedal. Just showing demonstratively, knotting our legs behind our head, that we are not racing there, and we can prove it to the adversary. And so adversary, meaning Chinese now, would be now incentivized to slow down as well, because they don't want to create misaligned AGI. They would prefer to have aligned AGI, and if they demonstratively see that we are pausing, going to the alignment way, they would most likely pause as well. But this is only a short opportunity window, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, and it will not work the same way when they already achieved the Tyrannosaurus Rex, misaligned Tyrannosaurus Rex, because at that moment, if we slow down, they will not be incentivized to slow down as well. They will be more incentivized to just play the very risky way, and this is exactly what we don't know, because we're creating non-biologically aligned entity more capable in achieving any goal, and we don't have the steering wheel for that.
But still, you mentioned a lot of concerns, and that there are some activities already happening, like the petition to slow down the AI progress and so on. But the people are already scared. So what do you think will help us to control the AI?
Well, not to pretend this is not the issue. Because as I see it from the majority of AI community, they're just in the kind of very motivated reasoning, explaining this is not the issue. Like I would say more than 50% within AI community is against that open letter, saying either AI will never be competent enough to be dangerous. So I'm asking, why the hell are you working on that? If that is such a stupid thing, why are you wasting your time on something such incompetent? This is like pretty obvious case of motivated reasoning. Another case would be, okay, so it's gonna be more competent than humans, but we will figure out one day how to fix it. This is like super irresponsible. And the third case would be, it's gonna be smarter, meaning more competent, and for some reason it will maybe somehow on itself start to like us. And look, and what I see recently was a tweet by Jan LeCun from Facebook. It was shocking for me, because he's like a strong opponent, vocal opponent against the open letter. He was saying, okay, now even in human groups, like less intelligent people are in charge of more intelligent teams. So it's pretty okay that less intelligent humans will be in charge of more competent machines. But this is like so big fallacy, because why are we able to do that? Why you can have a stupid manager and still work with it? Because we're humans. That being is like a same instance of our kind, and we were primed by evolution. We run on the hardware that is equipped by emotions, altruism, kind of attachment to other person, and we just cannot go and kill unless we're psychopaths. But the alien Shoggoth will never be aligned in such a way. So maybe just an example, have a look at other Homo species. Where are they? Where is Homo erectus? They have been here for 2.5 million years before Homo sapiens came. Then Homo sapiens came, we've been here by just 200,000 years. And Homo erectus suddenly disappeared. Every other instance of Homo species is gone. Where did they go? Most likely, we don't know for sure, but most likely they were just, extinguished by Homo sapiens, because Homo sapiens was far more capable.
Okay, I'm slightly worried at the time limitation. I will be asking. I have several questions over there, but you can check the website and look for the question and probably answer them.
If those questions are kind of world-saving related, then just I suggest people check my webpage. There's an email, and they just can forward them to me. And if
Okay,
it is
great.
like a joint activity for saving the world, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So
great.
thank you for scaring us. That that was
You're
definitely
welcome. Always
contributing.
pleasure.
So thank you both speakers of the first morning block.